What if I told you that your brain fog isn't because you're lazy? It's because you're overloaded, and nobody taught you how to reset. You sit there trying to study English, but you can't focus. You feel tired before you begin. You open the video, then check your phone. You listen, but nothing stays. You start asking yourself, am I the problem? No, your brain is not broken. It's begging for something nobody talks about, cognitive recovery. And guess what? The solution isn't complicated. It doesn't require perfect grammar or 10 hours a day. It starts with slowing down, with reading one page slowly, with repeating one sentence until it feels like yours, with daily rituals that protect your mind, not punish it. In this video, you'll learn how a simple English story can become the tool that sharpens your focus, rewires your attention, and brings back the version of you that got buried under noise. Not with pressure, not with speed, but with science, with presence, with practice. Ready to feel your mind again? Let's begin. She always thought she was just lazy, that something was wrong with her, that maybe she just wasn't as sharp as other people. Every time she sat to study English, her mind went somewhere else. Blank, noisy, chaotic. The words on the page blurred, the sentences didn't stay. And yet, she could scroll Instagram for hours without getting tired. Strange, right? That was the moment it hit her. This isn't laziness. This is something else. Her brain wasn't broken. It was overloaded, begging her to slow down. So she tried something simple. She whispered to herself, I want clarity. 5 words. That's all. But saying them felt like opening a window inside her crowded mind. This was the first time she spoke to herself not like a failure, but like someone worth helping. If you're reading this, try it right now. Put your hand on your heart and say it in English. I want clarity. Say it again, slower. This isn't grammar. This is your nervous system finally being heard. And for the first time in months, she didn't blame herself. She realized that fog is not a flaw. It's a message. Her brain wasn't lazy. It was protecting her from burnout, from noise, from overload. That realization felt like forgiveness. Maybe that's what most people miss. They try to fix their English, but forget to fix the way they treat themselves. Try this. Before your next English session, take 3 deep breaths. Not because it's spiritual, because your nervous system needs space to learn. She opened her laptop ready to study, and something strange happened. 1 paragraph. That's all she wanted to read, but she couldn't. Not because it was hard, but because her brain didn't trust her anymore. She had trained it to chase distraction. Netflix, TikTok, WhatsApp, click after click after click. And now, a single paragraph felt like a mountain. That terrified her. And that fear, that was her turning point. So she decided to do something different. Just 4 lines, no more. She picked up a graded reader and read, slowly like a person learning how to walk again. 1 sentence, then the next. No pressure, no multitasking. Her mind resisted at first, like a child throwing a tantrum. But she kept reading, and somewhere between line 3 and 4, the fog moved slightly. Not much, but enough to feel it. Clarity doesn't come all at once. It returns in pieces. That night, she changed her entire approach. No more fighting her brain, no more guilt for not being productive. She started listening to English stories while walking, not rushing, just letting the words flow. 5 minutes a day. That was the rule. And slowly, clarity began to feel like a friend she hadn't seen in years. If you want to try this, spend just 5 minutes today listening to slow English. No pressure to understand everything. Just listen with kindness. Here's the truth. She didn't need motivation. She needed a reset. The kind that begins inside your attention span. English didn't become easier overnight, but her relationship with learning did. Her inner critic became a quiet observer. Her mind, once loud and messy, started learning to whisper again. And clarity, that soft, forgotten feeling, began to return. Not perfectly, not quickly, but surely. And that, my friend, was only the beginning. If you really want to keep your mind foggy forever, there's a perfect formula. First, never stay with one task. Switch every 30 seconds, scroll TikTok, check WhatsApp, answer messages, open YouTube, then try to study English. Of course it won't work, but that's the point. You'll feel frustrated, distracted, and defeated. Exactly what the fog wants. If you'd rather train clarity, try one English activity, only one, and finish it without interruption. Next, let's make your confusion worse. Flood your brain with fast content, short videos, loud reels, quick subtitles, rapid speech. Never let your brain breathe. Your mind will start running in circles faster and faster, but going nowhere. The best way to ruin language learning: chase speed over substance. Want to undo that? Choose one English video. Slow it down. Watch it like it's a message, not just noise. Watch it like it matters. Now, to make your fog permanent, study English when you're exhausted. Right after school, after work, late at night, when your brain can barely think. Force it. Push it. Then blame yourself when nothing sticks. That's how you build a cycle of failure, and it works. But if you're serious about growth, flip the script. Study only when your mind feels even a little alive. Even 10 minutes of English after a fresh shower or a short walk will give you more than an hour of sleepy effort. Here's another secret for staying mentally stuck. Avoid silence. Avoid books. Avoid stillness. Keep filling your brain with something, anything, just not focus. And most importantly, don't read. Why read when scrolling feels easier? Why think when reacting feels faster? But the truth is, a foggy mind is full of noise and starves for depth. So if you want to break that cycle, here's a challenge. 2 minutes of phone-free English reading. Just you, the page, and a little peace. Now, if your goal is to feel mentally paralyzed, this next habit is gold. Expect instant results. Watch one English video and expect fluency. Study 5 new words and expect them to stick. Try speaking once and expect confidence. When you don't get it, quit. Tell yourself, it's not for me. That's how the fog wins, by making you impatient. Want to beat that trap? Learn like nature grows, slowly, silently, every day. Water your English for 5 minutes, then walk away. Here's a bonus tip if you really want to stay unclear forever. Never review what you learned. Study something once and forget it. Don't repeat. Don't revisit. Let everything fade. But if you value clarity, do the opposite. Reread yesterday's paragraph. Listen again to yesterday's audio. Clarity isn't about knowing more. It's about remembering better. Repetition is not boring. It's your brain's way of saying, I'm trying to protect this, let me keep it. And if you want to keep doubting yourself, keep comparing. Watch fluent speakers and say, I'll never be like them. Ignore the fact they studied for years. Forget they were beginners too. Just focus on your accent, your mistakes, your speed. That mindset will cloud your brain faster than anything. But here's the truth. Clarity begins with kindness. If you can't speak perfectly, speak imperfectly, but speak anyway. Your voice deserves space, even in progress. So yes, if your goal is to stay foggy forever, follow all of these habits. But if part of you, even a small part, wants to feel free, wants to think clearly, wants to speak with power, then you already know. Your brain is ready. It just needs you to stop sabotaging it and start supporting it. And sometimes that support begins with something as simple as a page, a pause, and a little belief. And then something else happens. She had forgotten how it felt to think clearly. Her mind, once bright and expressive, now felt like smoke, always shifting, never solid. She spoke 3 languages, but none of them felt natural anymore. Sentences came out broken. Words got stuck. Sometimes she'd stop mid-sentence and forget what she was saying. That scared her. Not because she was weak, but because she didn't recognize herself anymore. That was the beginning of her search. She tried everything, apps, courses, videos, but everything felt too fast, too much, too noisy. Until one day, in the corner of a second-hand bookstore, she found it. A small, old, English graded reader. The cover was simple, the title forgettable, But when she opened it and read the first line, something happened. It wasn't just easy. It was human, gentle. Her mind didn't resist. It followed, and for the first time in a long time, she finished a page. That story became her anchor. A few lines each morning, a few more before sleep. Nothing dramatic, nothing fancy, but the effect was powerful. The slow pace gave her mind a rhythm. The simple words gave her confidence. The human tone gave her hope. That's when she realized something no teacher had ever told her. Clarity doesn't begin with intelligence. It begins with feeling safe inside the language. And this story made her feel safe. It became her daily loop. Read, reflect, reread. Her brain began to recognize patterns, the same sentence structures, the same expressions, the same gentle pace. And suddenly, everything became easier. She didn't have to study anymore. The language was repeating itself inside her like music. If you're struggling too, try this. Reread yesterday's page, not to memorize, but to notice how much your brain already remembers. Day by day, her fog started to lift. Not because of some miracle, but because of this quiet ritual. No stress, no pressure, just her story and her attention. And slowly, her voice came back. Not just her English voice, her real voice, the one that got buried under burnout and anxiety. She started speaking to her friends again, sharing ideas, laughing without fear. Confidence returned, not loudly, but with steady steps. And one day something small happened that meant everything. She recorded herself reading in English, 20 seconds only. Then she listened back. She didn't hate what she heard. That was new. She didn't criticize her accent. She smiled because she heard someone who sounded calm, clear, and alive. If you've never tried this, do it now. Record yourself reading one page out loud. Don't aim for perfection. Aim for presence. Soon, she didn't just read stories. She became the story. Her mind sharpened. Her energy changed. She woke up earlier. She started journaling in English. Her thoughts came back, her memory felt brighter, and most of all, her desire to learn returned. That was the real gift. Not fluency, but clarity. And it all began with one small book, and a decision to go slow when the world was shouting, "Go faster." So now, when people ask her, "How did you improve your English so much?" she just smiles and says, "I read the same story every day." They don't understand it. But you do, don't you? Because now you're starting to see the secret that comes next. Most people assume they're not smart enough, that they struggle with English because their brain is somehow weaker. But the truth, their brain is not broken. It's simply overloaded. It's like trying to run a marathon with no sleep, no water, and no breaks. Of course you're going to collapse. That collapse is called cognitive fatigue. And here's the deeper truth. Your mind can't build clarity if it's always in recovery mode. Let's talk about attention fragmentation. Every time you check your phone, answer a notification, switch between apps, your attention splits, like glass cracking slowly under pressure. When you try to study English after that, it's like pouring water into a broken cup. Nothing stays. Want to heal that fracture? Try this. Put your phone in airplane mode. Then study one short English task, reading, journaling, or listening, without any distraction. Just 10 minutes. Next comes the overstimulation hangover. When your brain gets too much novelty, new faces, new videos, new information, it starts rejecting depth. This is why we binge content but struggle to finish one page of a book. Your brain becomes addicted to skipping. But learning, especially language, requires stillness. Solution? Today, choose one slow English activity. Read a simple story. Let the silence return. Let depth become your ally again. Then there's the emotional load factor. Most people don't realize how much their feelings affect their fluency. Anxiety blocks memory. Stress blocks speech. Shame blocks attention. This is why you forget easy words when someone's watching you. It's not because you don't know. It's because your emotional brain hijacks your thinking brain. Practice this. Speak one sentence in English that describes how you feel. Even something as simple as "I feel nervous" helps release tension. Cognitive recovery starts when the emotional storm calms. That's when your working memory, the part that helps you speak and listen, begins to rebuild. But it needs consistency, a rhythm, a structure. Think of it like watering a plant at the same time every day. If you want your English brain to grow, give it a fixed study window. Even 15 minutes after breakfast every day is more powerful than random hours of scattered effort. And here's something science won't often say, but psychology knows. Recovery doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing something slow, familiar, and restorative. For English learners, that's graded input, easy stories, predictable patterns, simple vocabulary. These are not baby exercises, they are brain therapy. You're not weak for going slow. You're wise for knowing what your brain actually needs to heal. So the next time your mind feels foggy, don't push harder. Push smarter. Ask yourself, am I giving my brain time to recover? If the answer is no, then clarity won't come, no matter how many hours you study. But if the answer becomes yes, you'll begin to notice something strange. Words stick longer. Ideas connect faster. You remember sentences without trying. That's not magic. That's what happens when your brain feels safe. And this is where things begin to shift, when you protect your attention, when you heal your focus, when you stop treating exhaustion like weakness. A different version of you begins to wake up. You start learning not just for results, but for peace. You stop chasing progress and start living inside it. And this change, it sets the stage for something far deeper. Did you enjoy the content and it made a difference for you? Click on Super Thanks and support our work. There's a version of you that existed before the noise, before the pressure, before life pulled your attention in 100 directions. That version wasn't perfect, but it was present, connected, curious, courageous. That version of you isn't gone, just hidden under layers of distraction, anxiety, and emotional clutter. And when your mind starts to clear, it's not just about thinking better. It's about coming back home to yourself. She didn't realize how much of herself she had lost. Not until she said one simple English sentence, "I am coming back." It felt strange on her tongue, almost like a lie, but she said it again and again, until something inside her started to believe it. That sentence became her anchor, not just for language, but for identity. So try it. Say it with breath, with weight. I am coming back. Not to a version the world wants, to the version you forgot. Because here's the truth. You didn't lose your dreams. You just couldn't see them. The fog was in the way. The chaos made you blind to your own desires. You started living in reaction instead of intention. That's not failure, that's survival. But now it's time to shift. Take one quiet moment today. Write your next dream in English. Just one sentence. Don't worry about the grammar. Worry about the truth. The moment your words become aligned with your desires, your mind begins to return. That's what clarity really is. Your attention and identity walking in the same direction, not in a rush, not for perfection, but with presence. This is why reading slow English stories is powerful. You don't just practice language, you practice returning to the moment. Try this. Read one scene from your graded reader, but don't just read it, feel it. She started to notice small changes. Her posture, her voice, the way she breathed. She wasn't trying to be anyone, she was just being. And in that state, her English started flowing more naturally. Why? Because the more present you are, the more your brain feels safe to express. Want to practice this? Describe your current surroundings in English, slowly, out loud. That's not just language learning. That's mind-body reconnection. And then came something powerful, direction. When she stopped surviving and started noticing, her mind began setting quiet goals. Not big ones, simple ones. Read 10 minutes, speak to one friend, learn one phrase. But these small intentions built momentum. And soon clarity wasn't a feeling, it was a compass. Try this. Write down what you want this month in English. Not for the world, for you. Let that be your direction. Because when clarity returns, decision-making becomes easier, energy becomes steadier. You no longer feel lost in the fog, you walk through it, and every step feels more like you. That's the existential shift. It's not about changing into someone new. It's about becoming someone real, the one who was always there, just waiting for the noise to fade. And once that version of you begins to rise, you start seeing language differently. English isn't just a skill anymore. It's a path, a mirror, a place where clarity grows stronger with each word. And from here, the transformation deepens into something beautifully scientific. Here's something they rarely teach in schools: how your brain actually learns, especially when it's tired, distracted, or foggy. The human brain isn't built for speed. It's built for pattern, for rhythm, for slow, repeated understanding. This is why fast input feels exciting, but gives you nothing, and slow English input, that's not boring. That's how you rebuild a broken mind into something sharp, focused, and alive again. Let's start with something called a processing speed reset. When you read simple English stories slowly, sentence by sentence, your brain begins to calm. It adjusts its rhythm. Your inner chaos slows down to match the language's pace. That's why people who read slowly regularly often feel more grounded. Want to practice this? Pick any paragraph today and read it aloud. Not fast, not robotic, just slow, like pouring warm tea. Then comes the pattern recognition revival. The brain loves pattern. It's how we learn songs, jokes, street names, even languages. Graded readers use predictable structures. He went to the store, he saw his friend. They talked for a long time. Boring? Not at all. These patterns train your brain to notice structure. And once structure is clear, creativity becomes possible. Try this. Notice 3 repeated phrases in your English story today. Let them sink in. There's also the dopamine stabilization effect. When you understand something clearly, your brain releases a small dose of satisfaction, a reward. That's what motivates you to keep going. But if your input is always too hard, your brain doesn't get that reward. It gives up. So here's your move. Choose content slightly below your level. Let understanding be your motivator, not struggle. That's how joy comes back to learning. But the most powerful shift, the clarity compounding cycle. It's simple: daily input, repeated exposure, stronger neural pathways, better memory. Do this for 5 minutes a day, and your brain starts to rewire itself. Not overnight, but quietly, deeply, with persistence. Want a habit that truly sharpens your mind? Listen to the same audio clip every day for a week. Watch how your understanding deepens without effort. When you embrace slow learning, you start to notice something unexpected: mental space. The space to think, to reflect, to connect. This is the opposite of brain fog. It's like someone finally opened a window inside your head. That's not just poetic, that's neuroscience. Your prefrontal cortex, the part that helps you focus and speak, activates better with calm, focused repetition. And English stories are the perfect medicine. So, if you've been wondering, why can't I remember what I study? This is your answer. You're not broken. You're just overloaded. Your brain isn't bad. It's simply begging for slow, steady training. And the good news? You already have the tools. A short story, a quiet space, 5 focused minutes. That's not a waste of time. That's how transformation begins, because the brain you have today is not the brain you're stuck with forever. Neuroplasticity means you can rebuild, rewire, reclaim your clarity. 1 word, 1 page, 1 habit at a time. And once this shift begins, your life and your English start changing in ways others can't quite explain. Something changes in your eyes first. It's subtle, but people notice. The way you look at them, the way you listen, the way your attention actually lands, not bouncing, not drifting, but present. Before they even hear your English, they feel your clarity, that calm energy, that focused presence. It's not just about speaking better, it's about being better. And suddenly, fluency becomes more than just words. It becomes identity. Here's what most people get wrong. They wait for confidence after fluency. But it's the other way around. When your mind is foggy, your words hide. When your mind clears, your voice rises. One day you respond to a simple question in English, and you don't overthink. You just answer, naturally. That moment is magic. Try it today. Pick a basic question. How are you feeling today? And answer out loud. Slowly, honestly. You don't need fancy words to sound fluent. In fact, when your brain is clear, even simple English sounds powerful. Think about it. I'm learning. I'm improving. I didn't give up. These aren't complex phrases, but they carry weight. Practice this. Say one sentence today with calm authority. Not loud, not forced, just grounded. That's what clarity does. It makes your presence speak louder than your vocabulary. And then something interesting happens. Opportunities return. You feel a little braver in meetings. You join that conversation in class. You message that person you were too shy to speak to before. Not because your grammar is perfect, but because your mind is clear enough to try. That's the real gain. Not perfection, but participation. Try this today. Use English in one real interaction. Even a short voice note counts. Clarity also gives you emotional space. Before, a mistake felt like a disaster. Now, it's feedback. Before, you panicked in silence. Now, you breathe, pause, and speak anyway. You start trusting your brain because you've trained it, you've healed it. You've given it what it needed. Rest, rhythm, and repetition, and your brain rewards you with confidence that no textbook could ever give you. And people around you, they feel it too. You might not notice it, but your energy shifts. You speak more clearly, yes, but also more calmly. You ask better questions. You remember more details. You start becoming that person, the one who listens well, speaks clearly, and carries a quiet strength. That's not charisma. That's cognitive clarity, showing up through your English. And here's the kicker, your decisions get better. You no longer waste energy on panic or doubt. You say yes with intention. You say no with peace. You stop reacting and start choosing. That's what fluency does when built on clarity. It doesn't just give you words, it gives you wisdom. And once you taste that kind of fluency, you'll never want to go back. So what's next? What happens when you realize that clarity was never about being perfect? It was about being present. You start building habits that protect it. Daily rituals, little moments, sacred time, and those habits over time become a life where English isn't just something you learn, but something you live. Why was my mind foggy? She asked herself this one quiet night, staring at her open notebook untouched. The answer didn't come from a teacher. It came from the stillness. Because you gave your brain everything except rest and focus. You gave it stimulation, distraction, noise, but not clarity. That was never going to work. So now she made a decision. She whispered it out loud, softly, in English. I choose clarity. Try saying that now, not for motivation, for direction. Clarity is not something you wait for. It's something you protect through small choices, quiet moments, daily rituals. Not rituals made of pressure, but of presence. She realized if she wanted to feel alive again, think better, speak better, she had to build habits that honored her mind. Not punish it, not overload it, just respect it. So here's one practice. Speak for 1 minute in English today. No phone, no apps, just your voice, your thoughts, your space. What clears the fog? It's not motivation. It's not hustle. It's not some magical method. It's slow input, repetition, silence, and consistency. The things no one teaches because they're not exciting, but they're effective. That's what finally worked. She stopped chasing results and started creating space. And the fog, it didn't disappear instantly, but it loosened, lifted, lightened, and every page she read cleared another layer. Who am I becoming? She wrote that question at the top of her English journal, and for the first time, she had an answer. I'm becoming someone whose mind is sharp, focused, and present. Not perfect, not fluent, but clear. A learner, yes, but also a thinker, a speaker, a quiet force. Try this. Describe yourself in English as if you were meeting your future self, not in terms of goals, but in terms of energy. Who are you becoming? Because the truth is, identity is built through repetition, not just repeating English phrases, but repeating who you decide to be daily. And each day you choose to study slowly, read with presence, or speak with calm. You're not just learning language. You're becoming someone who protects their clarity, someone who shows up, someone who doesn't abandon their brain just to chase results. What happens next? That's the real question. She asked it every night before bed, and slowly the answer became clear. A clear mind, clear English, clear life. No more hiding, no more surviving, just showing up with awareness, with softness, with structure. One simple reflection closed her night, 20 seconds, spoken in English, describing what she learned that day. Try it. You'll feel it in your voice, the fog shrinking, the focus growing. And with that final whisper, her story didn't end. It began. Not with fireworks, not with applause, but with peace, that quiet, steady kind of peace that comes when your attention comes home. And in that peace, the mind sharpens, the English flows, the future opens. Now take a moment, not to rush, but to feel. How often have you been hard on yourself, thinking you just weren't smart enough to learn English? How many nights have you watched videos like this, secretly wishing for clarity, for energy, for a second chance? You've just discovered something most people never learn, that fluency isn't just about study hours, it's about mental clarity. And clarity, it's built, slowly, gently, through small rituals that respect your brain. Rituals like 5 minutes of focused reading, one spoken sentence that matches how you feel, one audio clip played again and again until your brain finally says, I understand. Let me ask you, what version of yourself are you training every day? Are you teaching your brain to rush, compare, and panic? Or are you teaching it to focus, return, and grow? You don't need to be perfect. You need to be present. English isn't just a language. It's your tool to heal, to rebuild, to remember who you are beneath the fog. Now it's your turn. Leave a comment and tell me, what's one small clarity habit you'll start today? If this story helped you breathe deeper, think clearer, or believe in your mind again, subscribe to the channel, like the video, activate notifications, and come back tomorrow to train not just your English, but your entire way of seeing life. Your clarity is waiting.